Hey, Justin. What's
Yo,
happening?
Jim, what's going down, brother?
Living life driven.
Living life driven. Let's get after it.
That's what it's all about today. I want to talk about, every week we got, what did we learn this week? What can we talk about? What's important? I want to talk about being the best version of ourselves. And it's funny because that was the topic. I told you that was the topic earlier. I just popped open my Instagram, and David Meltzer had posted. It was the first one that popped up. It says, focus on the potential of your day, not the problem of it. Kind of cool.
Yeah, I'd say. He's insightful, man. Those one-liners stick with you.
Well, and this is kind of what we talked about a couple weeks ago on the last show we did together is, you read these quotes or you listen to what people say, but how much stock do you actually put into that when you go about your day? And if we applied a little bit more value to what people are posting or what they're saying, maybe even the person posting it puts a little more value into it. So if you really analyze that, focus on the potential of your day, not the problem of it, right? So you get up in the morning and you're like, oh, I got so many problems. My life sucks, COVID, all this. You're not focusing on your potential.
Yeah, that's right. Same exact thing when you got too many things that you got to do. It goes back to eating bits and pieces of the elephant, stuff like that, right? You get one thing done, boom, that's a win. Go on to the next thing. Next thing you know, you got the full leg down and you got everything done. But it can be overwhelming, and I've been susceptible to this. I got so many different things to do, so little time to do it, and then I end up at the end of the day not doing shit. Nothing gets done.
Well, we talk about, or at least on my other show, I talk a lot about having a list of to-dos for the day, right? So you're sitting at my desk right now. I've got a yellow pad in front of me with a whole list of stuff. And, these are things that I need to at least address or get done throughout the day. And we talk about little bites of the elephant. There's a lot of psychology to how you go about your day, what you accomplish. Some say tackle the easy stuff first thing in the morning. Right? Because you do it, you accomplish it, you check it off the list, you do another one, check it off the list. All of a sudden, you've gained some momentum.
That's right.
And it's like, okay, I got the big task, whatever that might be. You're talking about programming the Patriot Truck Works website.
Right.
I mean, 2 weeks ago, you didn't even know how to do a website. Now, all of a sudden, I'm looking at the stuff you've done today. I was like, wow, you've uploaded all the rugged radio parts. You've uploaded all the BFG stuff. It's like, you've done a lot of work.
It's a tad time consuming, but you know what? Yeah, the initial part of that in creating PatriotTruckWorks.com was very difficult for me because I never even thought of creating a website myself. You know?
Yeah.
And going through that, and then you get the base website down, so it's a landing point for your social media platforms and everything like that. But there's no products, right? So I had it all blasted over. Hey, call me if you want to order stuff. This is kind of just a landing point. And looking at the different websites in the industry and stuff like that, I'm like, hey, I got to put these products in. So I just went to work.
And it's no easy task. And I guess that's kind of the point. If you want to be the best version of yourself, right, make a list, start chipping away at the elephant. And I'm looking at that task of creating a website. Wow, that's one elephant I don't want to eat. That's not.
Yeah, it has some bad gristle.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I'm sure. The other reason why I came up with that topic is, I want to say that this is something that Andy Frisella had said or I'd read.
Don't you steal my Frisella stuff. I got it written down. I guarantee you.
See, what happens is when you turn me on to something, I'm gonna follow through on it. I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna read it. I got it. I know what it was. It was from Andy, but it was they do like a newsletter every day for their first form, athletes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was basically talking about being the best version of you, and they were also talking about we only do what others approve of. They were talking about social media and stuff.
Right.
And, the whole thing about what you post on social media is all about getting likes or people to, give you your little heart emoji. And we tend to not be ourselves, but be what we think other people are going to like and give us an emoji.
Yeah, he contradicts that 100%.
Well, hey, so be it. But we're still going to talk about what that means from a psychological perspective. But I think he's there's a lot of truth in that sometimes we post stuff because we really want to see what the reaction is of people, not necessarily that's how we really feel, And I just think if we could be the best versions of ourselves and do what is right for us instead of what we think people are going to approve of.
100%. That's what I mean by him when I said he contradicts that, because he doesn't really give a shit.
Yeah.
I mean, he speaks his mind. He's as raw and real as it gets, And I look at his stuff every day. I subscribe to his website, andrewfrisella.com, and every day in my email, when I first wake up, that's the first thing I look at. It's called an Andygram, and he sends it out, and you read about it. And, he's all about doing the right thing, man. Just do the right thing. You want to be the best version of you? Do the right thing, regardless of what the situation is. The latest one on Mother's Day, he learned that, he said, from his mother and stuff like that, and that's a great attribute to have. Most people don't do that.
Yeah. No, and so I love his perspective. You got me into his podcast. He's got a new one. What is it?
The Real AF.
Yeah, The Real AF.
Yeah,
right.
Real AF.
It's not for everybody, but
No.
it does stimulate thought, especially in today's environment with everything that's going on, the health factor around the world. What I like about him is he's worth a lot of money, but he is all in terms of just being pro-American, pro-people, pro-support. He doesn't skew one side or the other. He skews people. And when I say one side or the other, he's not only talking about Democrats or Republicans. He's just talking about people and how to help each other out and how to be healthy,
right,
and supporting your family and your friends and being conscientious of people that are suffering. Maybe they have COVID because they're old or they're susceptible to that disease. Whereas, hey, if you're healthy, then go out and make a difference.
Right.
So I really like some of the things that he's saying. He made me feel a little bit patriotic this morning. I was in my gym. Maybe you saw it. I posted up a picture of the American flag.
I saw it.
Every time I'm down there, I'm working out and I'm looking at that flag. And, it's funny, like, what does that flag mean to me? And what does it mean to other people? And I think now's a good time for people to analyze, like, what does it mean to be American right now in a time of crisis where we're pulling together and how we can really support one another. And, again, I talked about on the show is get out and support local, support small business if you can. Those are the ones that are suffering. When you look at the restaurant industry, man, there's a lot of people that lost jobs. And you look at mom and pop shops. And today I've made a conscious effort, like, I'm really going to try hard to support those that really need us in this time, of crisis.
Right.
And so, like, for what that meant to me today, just as an example for people that are listening, we had a little PTA moms and students event at the house today. I got a dozen people downstairs running around. We normally would go to Costco and get a couple pizzas and salads and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, I said, hey, don't order that from Costco. Go, let's do it from the local place and, let's support them. So we went to Moose's instead, which is a small little local place downtown Kalispell.
Great pizza.
And I feel great about that. Like, hey, we did something with local as opposed to the Costco run, right? So anyways, it's time to think about stuff like that.
Yeah, being the best version of you has all kinds of different categories. I mean, it could be broken down into being the best parent, being the best friend, the best sibling, best neighbor, best coworker, best spouse, best resident, so on and so on. But if you apply all these things that we've talked about, doing the right thing, chipping away at the elephant on a daily basis, whether it be, you haven't talked to a sibling in a while. For me, it's been a long time. We talked about that last show or whatever. 46 years, I finally met my sister. Just working those little things out, that the little bumps that you come across on a daily basis, just working a little bit of it out. You might not fix the whole thing, or you might not even nudge it, but you worked at it. And just like you talked about, you gain that momentum. Momentum creates confidence. You get that confidence, you're like a bullet going down the range. You're not going to stop for much.
Yeah, and so it goes back to things that, like, Meltzer's talked about in the past is, when you start your day, be thankful for 10 things. Write down the reasons why you feel like you have more than enough. Hey, I got a roof over my head. I got food in my cupboards. Gosh, I didn't even tell you this. Yesterday, I dropped the kids' schoolwork off at the school.
Yeah, right.
They got like this little packet drop off and pick up. And the food bank has been there every Monday from 5 to 7 with food for these families that are suffering.
Yeah.
And, we're fine. We don't need food. And every time my wife comes back, she's like, oh, the food bank was there. They had tons of food. It's so great. Well, I happen to be like the last person before they closed all that stuff down yesterday.
Yeah.
And they're like looking at me. They're like, hey, come get some food. I'm like, I do not need food. I would feel guilty if I took your food. And they're like, no, you don't understand. We have to take this stuff back, and it doesn't get processed or whatever. Pretty much it was going to be a major hassle. I said, you know what? There's somebody that I can donate this food to. So yeah, I'll load up. And Justin, let me tell you, so I had the girls with me, my 4 and 6-year-old daughters, and we loaded the truck up with the food that they had. And there was a guy that had helped the moving company unload my stuff when I moved here to Montana. And they wound up screwing this guy over and not paying him, and I wound up getting his address. And I went down there a few days later, and I gave him cash, like, hey, I know they didn't pay you what they told you, but I want to make it up for you. You worked hard. And I saw where he lived. Pretty bad, tough situation. Yeah. So I thought, I'm going to take some food down to them. It was a great lesson for my daughters to see, because it was one of those neighborhoods you just knew it wasn't where we lived. And the house was different, and, it's boarded up for doors and windows and, stuff all over the place. And the girl's like, what are we doing here? I'm like, well, these people are less fortunate than us, and this is an opportunity for us to be the best versions of ourselves and give back, right? And anyways, wound up talking to the mom, and she was just so grateful for the food and everything. And, when I left there, it was a great educational experience for my girls to explain to them, like, hey, when we have more than enough, we can help other people out, and then they can help other people out. And just, it's being the best versions of ourselves and making the world a better place. And I love that I was able to share that experience with them, but also at the same time utilize the resources of the food bank to pass it on to somebody that needed it. So, for me, when I look at what's the best version of myself, it's about helping others and doing what I can to help others. Been very blessed and making a conscious effort to do that. And, just helping people. A lot of people down right now. So we can get some positive messaging out there. I think that's the right place to be.
Hey, there's the music.
Well, that's our quick commercial break. Actually, I do want to give a shout out to Baja Bound Insurance Company. They've been supporting this podcast since day one. If and when you're able to cross the border and go down to Baja, call up Baja Bound Insurance Company. They will get you set up. And if you need to help making your travel arrangements, they can probably help you do that too. So anyways, quick shout out to Baja Bound Insurance. All right, back to the program.
Yeah, just what you're talking about influencing. You're an influencer, right? You're an influencer. You influence your kids and everything like that. They see what you do. Seeing something like that's crazy. My wife is, she's on this workout routine and everything like that. She's down on her Peloton bike every morning. Mm-hmm. We invested in that. We had a gym membership, and we realized that, hey, we can get a lot of our workouts done on this Peloton. It's an amazing thing. Though it's spendy, I'm on the payment plan.
Yeah.
But my daughter, who's 5, goes down and watches my wife do this. Sometimes she'll get on her bike and ride around on her bike or whatever. And
yeah.
They got these little weights, little dumbbell weights that come in like 1 pound, 3 pound, or 5 pound. My daughter's, doing military presses with these little dumbbells and stuff like that, and then dropping down. She ripped out like 10 push-ups the other day, like legit push-ups.
Wow.
It was crazy. 5 years old. Come on.
Hey, she's following her lead. So there's an interesting study, and this goes along with being the best version of yourself. Dr. James Heckman won a Nobel Prize. And basically he said that his discovery was people with a high IQ are only improved by 1% to 2% over others that have the conscientiousness, diligence, perseverance, self-discipline, all leading to financial success. And what's interesting about that is when we talk about being the best version of ourselves, being willing to work hard, try hard, get out there and actually do the work. So like persevere, the self-discipline, all those things lead to success, even over getting like a master's degree or having a high IQ. Eventually, you just have to do the work.
Right.
And so it was an interesting study by him. He won a Nobel Prize for that. You can look it up. And I just think back at some people that I know that are the best versions of themselves. My brother's always an inspiration for me, running In-N-Out Burger with 25,000 employees. He just retired not too long ago. But, he didn't go to college. He barely got out of high school. And we talk about it on my podcast. But he had the discipline and the perseverance and all those things that make up the character to be successful.